Joining us today is a young entrepreneur who was among the top contestants in MasterChef India 2023. She is known for her unique traditional palate, its presentation, and for bringing light to traditional South Indian dishes. She brings originality and a sense of self into her cooking and is deeply passionate. Passionate about making generational South Indian recipes more accessible and suited for the modern young palate. She's a true ambassador of everything that young India stands for. Traditional yet modern, authentic yet innovative, self-made and very talented. Please join me in welcoming the fierce chef who made home in all our hearts through her presence in MasterChef India 2023, Chef Aruna Vijay.
Thank you for that very nice introduction. So much, really kind words. Yes.
So, Chef, what we usually do is, when we know that a guest is going to join us, we send this to a lot of schools, and then the schools, the students, they send us a bunch of questions. We shortlist them, and we have shortlisted a few questions for you. And the first one I thought we should start with is your first memories in the kitchen. You know, how did it all start? The magic of Chef Aruna, how and where did it start?
Like every other little girl, my first experience was in mom's kitchen. I would help my cooking and watch her cooking. You know, most importantly, she would let me cook. She'll make me do all the other sous chef work. You know, this, get that. Started working in my mom's kitchen. But I think the first dish that I remember making as a kid was a cake, a baked cake. I think that, like a lot of people, there's a fascination to bake a cake, and I think somewhere what I'm today and what I've learned so much and what I've come so far is all because of my mom and what she's taught me unknowingly. That's so much that I learned by observing her. So she's not that she taught me like handheld and taught me, but she'd always say something that I'm just going to quote. She would say, "Aang de." I would just see her cooking and I just go back, what me complaining, don't get the same taste that you got. So until there, comparing that, I think the first memories is that kitchen.
I think every chef that I've interviewed has this one answer which is always same, which comes from their mom's kitchen. So it always starts from mom's kitchen, you know, her magic is what she passes on, and then, yeah. But it's always sweet and always heartwarming to hear the story from every chef. But yeah, you know, the one of the most unique thing about you was that about the vegetarian food. And you know, at I.I.M.U.N also we do these conferences, these events for high school students across the globe. And a lot of times we go to countries, specifically we try to go to countries where the sensitivity to Indians is not very much present. For example, Japan or Uruguay, you know, where Indians don't usually go. And I remember specifically in Uruguay, there were no Indian restaurants. People didn't know what Indian food was. And slowly when we started doing conferences, because there was no Indian embassy as well. And now there are 9 Indian restaurants, you know, because and our policy is that we always serve vegetarian food. So either it is Bangladesh or Japan, kahin se bhi hum log we'll get those Indian chefs and we'll get them to feed people Indian food only. And that is what we did in Uruguay. And now there are, you know, 9 restaurants which have come up in the past 5 years. So that is the power of vegetarian food. Like, you will find audiences, and I think that happened with you as well. But a lot of people also looked at it, you know, people look at vegetarian food with chefs as a limitation. Did you feel that for yourself as well?
So when I joined Master, I mean, of course, I have a lot of other co-contestants cooking non-Western food as well, but I had an issue with it. Because, you know, when they respect my values, not cooking with it, I can respect their choice of cooking with it. But somewhere, I didn't about how can you be a good chef, you can't take it. You know, this is like us, that if you just want to control yourself being a vegan or a vegetarian, you can't call yourself a chef. You're not getting to all kinds of food, or you're not, you know, grow there as a chef. Mindset. I, it's because I avoid non-veg because of my beliefs and my faith system. That's the reason that I avoid eating. But Indians have been on this track of being a vegetarian. Veganism is not something very new in India. It's followed from the time of Lord Maharaj. Lord Buddhism has been there for centuries. So this is not very new. And in fact, India is one of the largest in terms of size countries. That's 30% of people are vegetarian. Something that's very new for us, but I still people have that mindset कि अगर आप non-veg नहीं खाते हो तो आप एक पूरा chef नहीं बन सकते हो. The world is moving, getting back to the roots of veganism and vegetarianism. I think that can change our mindset also towards. But that hasn't stopped me because I'm out there to show the world that be it vegetarian or uh, as long as you cook with love and cook with your heart, all food.
Absolutely. And do you think the world is also catching up to this whole, vegetarian and even the vegan trend? Do you think that the world is now accepting
Absolutely.
it?
I think the world is veganism, vegetarianism, and vegan. Sometimes, some things that it's been like I in community. We have this policy called moral veganism. Not only we practice vegetarianism in terms, but we also believe, where we do harm animals in different ways. Clothing, we take care of animals, and in kind of entertainment form, we take care in medication. When I buy any kind of medication, I look for the green chart. I ask the skeleton coat or something.
Correct.
So I think this moral veganism is there very long in communities. I've been following it very long. So I think even the big stars today in India have accepted how much it's good for their health, and they've changed. So I think it's catching up fast. In fact, because we Indians are known for vegetarianism, there is also a small town in Israel called Mona. It's almost 50-year-old policy where the entire village is vegan. Yeah, there are a lot of these small places that we don't know about are turning vegan, are completely vegetarian. I think yes, the world is catching up really fast. India has been on this route for centuries now, but the world is catching up with us now.
Yeah, the world is catching up to what India has been always way ahead of its time. Yeah. But thank you, chef. Like with people such as yourself who hold that ground. Ki vegetarian hai, we continue the competition with our beliefs. I think that is what it instills that in young chefs as well. Ki there is a way forward if we can respect our own religious beliefs and also our career. So thank you for and seeing you do that on MasterChef Kitchen. I think that was such an inspiration for everybody who's a vegetarian and also wants to be a chef.
That don't forget your roots. Don't forget where you come from. So don't let your success define who you are. In the sense, don't forget how much go ahead. Don't forget where you come from and what your systems are. I think that's the only way to stay humble and stay grounded, according to me.
Absolutely, Chef, absolutely. And when it comes to not forgetting where you've come from, it's very important, especially with this young generation, the next generation. And it's for them, it's currently just become, everything is, they live in this social media world where everything is about instant gratification. एक reel डाल दिया, they want to get famous. It's just quite like they always try to find that easy way out through social media, and it's become very easy. So for a person like you who's had a career even before MasterChef, and now of course it's taken to new lengths, what do you have to say about the whole careers being made and destroyed on social media?
I think social media can make or break people. This is something I learned during because of choice of cooking, I got trolled majorly with it, and people don't even know me. Started commenting work and saying that it's also work. So somewhere I'm not who's been on social media, by large and not. But then when people started talking about me and talking about type of things because I don't cook with that did affect me. So make or break a person, but that mental health too. The kind of comments I go and read about myself, it's not easy. Uh, so yeah, I think it's an easy for people just to put out their emotions or put out their thoughts, but not realize there's an other who's that's a real person behind the screen with real things, and you're actually
Yeah.
hurting them. So I think in of course it can make you, but people should know their limits. They should know what they're doing, and how much they can talk about the other person, not even knowing where they come from. So yes, problem for me during my time at the show because of all the trolls that happen. But the current culture of instant gratification, like you said, jaldi famous hona, instantly famous. Uh, I think some things just take time. Just do your hard work. Don't look for instant success. Like they say, like do your duty and don't wait for the
Yeah.
rewards. I think my journey into mentorship also. लोगों को अगर जल्दी हो गया, it almost 6 rounds of water, 4 months before we entered the challenge, entered the competition process. Nothing happens overnight. I think even what I learned for coming on the show, years of experience that I got before coming on, it's all a slow process. So अगर को लगता है कि यार आज काम कल नाम कमा लो तो ऐसे नहीं होने वाला. You have to wait for own time. And also one thing that I realized in the current generation culture, सब कुछ जल्दी जल्दी सब कुछ होता है, and they don't give their 100% work and care, and they're going to succeed. And I think it doesn't come. First, they need to prioritize what's that. Prioritize the mental health. Right? Sometimes learn to say no. And सबको हाँ जरूरी नहीं है, सब करना बिल्कुल भी जरूरी नहीं. So just take a step back, learn to say no. I think that's all forward.
Yeah. Introspect
Absolutely.
what's happening, and then yeah. And it's so it's so important sometimes knowing that the person doesn't even know you, but you do get affected by a person who's just on the other side of the screen. But yeah, it is it social media has its both pros and cons.
A lot of people
and
told me don't go back and read those comments, or you even think it just said that. But like you
yeah.
read all this trash about you that's not true, and people don't realize how much they're hurting other person. So I think people should at least take a second before they write their thoughts on somebody else they don't even know about.
But talking about your MasterChef journey, is there any story which you can share which you've not talked about before, like some insights from MasterChef?
The first thing would be, when I entered the MasterChef for the first day and I saw those three judges there, it's an absolute dream come true. For somebody you've just seen on social media or followed the work on television, seeing them standing there and into the kitchen, and I think one of the most beautiful moments, because it's 6 months back, if somebody had told me, I don't know, you should try this, you should part in it. A lot of people tell me, I said, yeah, you know how platform MasterChef thought maybe home cook. I all the time, but I don't like me on the platform. But this current session, it was all about, and we got a chance to put out our talent, our style of cooking, because MasterChef has South Indian food, and that's the kind of people what Tamil Nadu cuisine is all about. So I felt so welcome. People were so down to earth. You see that 15 people on the camera ke piche aur 150 log hai, and everybody was so kind, so humble. Also, the entire thing was a learning. But one thing I understood was, everybody there, what's normal for me is not normal for everybody. So I think that's why first time I was out of my home comfort zone, being married for years, I was with my kids, and first time I stepped out in the world, where people came from different parts of the country, different cultures. So all that was so for me, but I made some good friends. I learned about different cuisines and so a lot of good memories. But I think the best one would be that chance to get mentor brilliant chefs. So that's something I'm very, very grateful.
And you've put up a lovely reel for all of them today.
That is
Today or yesterday, and that was so
because
sweet.
you don't realize that, of course, when they do give us negative feedback when we put out dish, but it's like, they want to teach us, आप कुछ गलत कर रहे आपने ये गलत किया, ये किया, go for improvement. So you get back home, there's so much fun in the entire process. Perspective about food. So I think it's a Michelin star chefs के अंदर लोग काम करने के लिए मरते हैं, पर उसके अंदर हम अगर 3-4 months we worked under them, I think that's an amazing thing. That's a achievement according to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Vikas sir, he's an advisor to our organization as well. So many times he's come here, and I remember the first time that I hosted him, I was so nervous, but he just made me feel so comfortable. And then in like 15 minutes, I was like, yeah, this is super easy. It's just so I mean, they have so accomplished, but working with them, it makes you realize how they are great chefs, but also such great humans.
Something what I love is, Cam, very kind person, easygoing person, but when it comes to work, comes to food, she means business. It's like she's very, very clear about it. I like her attitude. She is something whom I look up to as a star from India. I think कितना कुछ सीखने को मिल रहा है, and with Chef Vikas, have entered his star restaurant. So I know a lot of people don't know about this dish that I cook in the market, porkali. It has in his Michelin star restaurant. So that's a very, very big achievement for me as a very home style here.
Of course. Yeah. No, that is amazing. And talking about that, about your journey and how you've now become synonymous to South Indian cuisine. Today, a lot of North Indian and continental cuisines have, taken over every restaurant or every place we go to. And I feel like personally that South Indian cuisines also, I know in a very limited way, have also interspersed into our lives, be it any part of the country. Like every day, every hotel you go to, in the breakfast you can expect there to be a dosa or an idli. But you have mentioned it multiple times that is not the only South Indian dish, guys. There is so much beyond that. So what do you have to say about it? And like, tell us something, educate us in terms of how limited our knowledge is when it comes to South Indian dishes.
A lot of people who don't know, I'm a Marwadi, but I'm born and brought up in Tamil Nadu, so my hometown is Rajasthan. But my have been living here for generations. So yes, so this is home for me. That is home for me. Like you said, when you go abroad, you can food in any menu. It says biryani, chicken tikka masala. Those are very few dishes in part of in the menu. But you can't put Indian food in a box. You can't say कि यही Indian खाना. Yeah. First misconception, सारे South Indians sorry, not that. अभी South Indian so all 5 have very, very different cuisine. Even something as simple as dosa different in Karnataka, different in Andhra and Tamil Nadu. So you can't even say कि dosa South Indian. हर state में अलग होता है. For people who don't know, it has so many variations in the dosa itself. There's something called Mysore masala dosa, something called a mulbag dosa. There's the dapta benne dosa. So even something as simple as dosa changes from place to place, and every in South itself. Yes, बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि डोसा ही खाते हैं, सिर्फ हम चावल ही खाते हैं. But we have mostly lucky rice diet, very we use a lot of vegetables in our diet, like the north where they pair potato with everything. lot of regional vegetables like drumstick, uh, moringa leaves, all vegetables make it to our plate every single day. Our food is naturally vegan, gluten free. So I think that kind of a lot of these new age diets that we're talking about. Said veganism, South Indian food is naturally it's a vegan diet. The entire banana leaf for the dessert, the entire banana leaf is a vegan dish. All the dishes are. So I think somewhere लोगों को ये जो misconception है ना कि सारे से खाना खाते हैं, I think it's not true. Of course, आप जैसा आप कह रहे हो menu पे, these days you do find Italy and dosas in all-star hotel restaurants, all-star hotel buffets. But I think people need to move beyond that. And so many dishes from different parts of the South Indian that I think people need to know about, like adas or appams, or other types of, North Karnataka uses a lot of jawar and bajra in there. So jawar rotis and bajra rotis are some, very common in the north, and this region has very different types of rice that we use. In fact, rice, सारे South Indians एक जैसा नहीं खाते हैं. Like in South, we use more of boiled rice, or we call the, boiled rice. I know what you call it. Call it boiled rice. A lot of the Kerala's red rice, and Karnataka rice. So everything is so down. Generalizing our food is not right. I think people need to educate themselves in this talking about putting us all in one box.
No, absolutely, and I'm one of them who's been at the receiving end when I've been reading about you.
But I think our food is really underrepresented. When I did the MasterChef, I'm not kidding. Something as simple. In the last session, I had done something called Talapakati biryani. We need to understand that North ka biryani and South ka biryani is very different. North ka biryani has more rich, like you have a lot of nuts, you have ghee, you have kesar, usually cooked with basmati rice. But when you come down south, the biryanis they're not done in the layering method. Second, we don't have basmati biryani. We always use only short grain rice in our biryani. And so there are a lot of small I made the dish. People like biryani nahi, pulao, biryani with there's no ghee, there's no nuts. You can't this food because we are so diverse in terms of saying कि ये सही है, ये गलत है, that can't be. So yeah, something as simple as biryani is very different from your biryani in North.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And what you said about the food being very underrepresented is so true. And hopefully, and this is what our founder Rishabh, he had also joined. He also was. I'm not getting his comments now, but he also conveys his regards. He also keeps saying that it's so important that we educate the next generation so they're not as ignorant as me and they know because we do these conferences in 220 cities, and it's important that all these cities know what's happening in the other part of the country, and only then it's going to be like a true representation of India. So, but it's so good that you brought it on national television, and now people have started talking about it. So, that was something absolutely essential. But chef, tell us something. You do come up with new dishes and like making of recipes, new recipes. What is the creative process that goes behind it? Like, how do you conceptualize it, and how from conceptualizing it to bringing it onto the dishes for the people who come and eat it? What is the process? If you
For
could just
somebody
take
like
us
me, I'm much in. I don't like putting in lots in a dish or making it complicated. I like to keep the flavors. जैसा होना चाहिए, just taste the same. A biryani or dosa should taste rather than too many elements. So I'm with fusion. Yes, I don't understand when I try to understand. First, like for one of the dishes I made rasam rice. Very my version of rasam rice was made. So rasam, when we have in a plate, it's rasam rice, and we have a vegetable, we have a appalam. or papad, you call. So my take was, instead of rice, I had made rice. And the rasa went soup, and the noodles, instead of a plain appam, I had made a beetroot appam. Essentially, the entire is the same, just the visual presentation here and there a bit. I think when you taste the food, you should still be rice and not rasam rice. You should maybe fish, but I think flavor remain the same. The essence of the dish should be the same. So I think that is according very important when I kind of the dish. Yeah, अगर मेरे को ये बनाना तो I think that is the whole thing. I don't believe in the current trend of putting two things together or ये fusion. I think मेरे बस बात नहीं है. So many times you don't know what you end up finding else. So for me, all for those who don't know, my work has Tamil Nadu. So I've been on studying for Tamil Nadu. So I want to, more than bringing up new recipes, I think it's sorry old don't even know about. I think that talk about before they get lost, documented. Selected recipes सिर्फ home cooks के पास ही है. Unless we talk about make it, people, I feel those recipes get lost in the process. So more than creating new recipes, I'm more into documenting the old ones, bringing them to life. Yeah, and when it comes to curation, the look, it can look different when you say it's the same. That is the essence of the dish. Shouldn't.
Absolutely. I mean, that is so important, to preserve the dishes which, which have been passed on through generations.
Post certain dishes on my page, people are like, यार ये तब हमारे कब नहीं बनता है. क्यों नहीं बनता? Because the process is a little complicated. Don't want to do it anymore. So I think somewhere I want to bring back those dishes and document those and talk about those simple dishes. Yet they're not made in the house, in the regular household. I think it's more about documenting old recipes. For me, that is more important.
Absolutely, Chef. And Chef, what would your message be to upcoming chefs? Do you see a gap in the culinary industry that you would like the upcoming chefs to know about? Just your message to people who want to enter this industry.
Like, I don't know if I can tell for chef. I'm certified chef. Yes, I'm in the process. I've learned from my mom that I've learned instances is what here. But I think that I think there's no shortcut. Travel more. The more you travel, the more how diverse your country is, how much what you have to do. But when you actually travel, you're that यही चीज हमारे वहाँ पे कितना differently बनता है, यही हमारे कितना differently use करते हैं. As well as man, so and somebody would make a pickle, but where we would put in our sambar, but the same ingredient differently in different parts of the. This is something you learn only when you travel, you try new foods and read a lot. When you get time, and I keep telling, when you get time, sit with your mom, what is the kind of food that they eat when they're young. Then you would realize how far we have come, how much we've lost in the. You learn, अच्छा आपके टाइम पे खाना आपको ये क्यों नहीं बनता है? Or why? So I think the only way to read, understand from your ancestors, from your क्या खाना बनता था, to understand from people around you, travel. That's the only way to learn. Because now I think things here because there's so many people posting food from the different parts of the country. I think that is educated me a lot. This dish अच्छा ऐसा भी कुछ just exist होता है. When I heard about in Chhattisgarh, they make called ant chutney. Ants in their chutney, which is a local name.
Yeah,
like ant को कौन खाता? But when you travel and you read, you understand that that's a source of protein. That's a very cheap source of protein for them. You understand that food changes seasonally and can be consumed throughout the year. जो आज की ज़माने that they eat the same every day. But I think as Indians, if you've seen how your mother cooks it, our food changes every 3 weeks. आ गया हम ये grains खाएंगे अभी winter आ गया हम गुड़ खाएंगे. So knowingly, unknowingly, I think we change so much for reason, but I thought it much. So I think the only way is go back to mom, understand our food, what is the kind of food that they eat, and of course, you have to be certified. You have to be a certified good chefs. You get a chance. Nothing like getting good. I mean, if you're lucky and if you get a chance to work under some great chefs and do it, the book of knowledge that is coming from practical knowledge. How much of culinary colleges? Because it's very important, but practice that's completely. MasterChef kitchen में a couple of times we got a chance to once in Goa. I mean, as a home cook, I would cook in the small burners and small vessels, but working bade burners, bade things you get only with practical experience. So, yeah, if you get a chance, intern under great chefs and great, that's a good way to start.
Absolutely, and I loved, the point that you said about sit with your, dadi, nanis, and understand your mom. Because, even at my house, when my dadi was there, she used to make achars, and now we just get them from the market. So, I mean, we're losing it. So, I think there are so many such stories happening in every kitchen that may not get passed on if you don't ask those questions. So, I think that's so important. And of course, travel and the real life experiences that you get, and of course, the wisdom, the science within the food that you will get only through reading. That's very important.
You don't do it, but some reminded of Kerala achar and how your dad used to cut kilos of mangoes, sun it, long tedious process. That's something you enjoy. So I think we get go back to doing the simple thing. Like according to the current food trend reports of 2023, Godrej food trend report, here is all the current food trend is all about nostalgia. People want to get back nostalgic. Bachpan that I want to eat again. One of the dishes that I made MasterChef kitchen, we had a challenge called Bachpan Ki Yadein, and I made a very simple popsicle that I sold outside. These days, they are hygiene conscious. There's a guy who used to sell these popsicles made of milk and whiskey. Child memories for me. I just loved it. Something as doodh ka popsicle inside my child. When I used to go to school, that I used to eat. Yeah, I think nostalgia gaining it way back in. So I think we should just go back to.
Absolutely, chef. That makes so much sense and very, very well put. But chef, I know we're running out of time, but towards the end of every conversation, we do this short rapid fire where I give you a word and you just tell me the first word that comes to your mind. Yeah. The first word is kitchen.
Dosa.
South Indian
For
cuisine.
me, I can eat dosa all 3 meals a day. So it's
favorite dessert.
Too many, but I like something is very Marwadi dessert called kasar ki chakki that we make during the winters with buns and gur. So I think that is great.
MasterChef.
MasterChef, I think once in lifetime experience. Not one word, but yeah, it's put it in one frame. I think it was once in lifetime experience.
Favorite spice.
Favorite spice would be cardamom.
Youth.
Hustle culture. I think that's something, you know,
India.
talk about is diversity. It's food.
Perfect, chef. And chef, if you are up for it, is it okay if I add somebody from the audience to
Sure,
ask you a
done.
candid question? All right, perfect. Let me just add. So many of them have sent requests and also so many questions.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, I'm Tanush Kumar Jha, and I'm from Culinary Arts Academy, Switzerland. I'm
Oh,
part of the master's course, Masters of Culinary Business Management, and currently I'm interning at a 3 Michelin star restaurant group in Belgium. And it was a really interesting session. I heard so much and I agree so much since I was an Indian chef back in India. And the way you explained how we are going back to our roots, the how people want that nostalgia on that palette. So I have a few questions according to the session, and I would like to ask you. Firstly, being that as a chef, we are really challenged behind the kitchen. Getting the right ingredients, getting the authenticity into the taste and the flavor, and also following a particular recipe from probably an credible source, a credible recipe cookbook, or our dadis and nanis, as you guys said. But how do you think that we can actually practice this and bring it into the commercial world of food? Because home cooking is completely different than the commercial cooking.
yeah. So like you said, home cooking is completely different from commercial kitchens, which I just practiced, learned in during the journey of MasterChef. And first of all, congrats to you for on your culinary journey. That you're already doing great. That you're getting to work on a Michelin star chefs. I think that's a brilliant experience already that you have having. So I think I'm very jealous of that, which I don't get to do. So yes, it is not possible to get those home style cooks in there in the kitchen, like you said, authenticity of the dish or the credible dish. But only thing I can say is the current trend, what I've seen, even the big star hotels when I go now, like when I travel down south over here, a lot of hotels have a lot of home cooks in their kitchens. Of course, they're not trained chefs like you and me. Of course, I'm not a trained chef per se, but I've seen a lot of star hotels hiring home cooks and women from that area, women or men from that area to cook those particular dishes. आप जितना भी चाहिए मर्जी पढ़ लो, आप जितना practice कर लो, but certain dishes made certain style and वो dish को authenticity retain करने के लिए it needs to be made a certain way. अगर वो चीज वैसे बनी तो I think वैसे ही बननी चाहिए. So it's nothing wrong in bringing home cooks into your big kitchens and train them. And I'm sure people will love those that kind of food. Just जब आप टेबल पे आके बैठते हो and you eat that dish and you're reminded of home. Living abroad, people miss their home food a lot.
Oh,
Sometimes
yes.
and you take the first bite of it and say, यार ये तो जैसे मेरे घर पे बनता ना वैसे ही बना है.
Yes.
But it hits nostalgia like crazy. You're like, yeah, wish I could get to eat this every day. So I think it's nothing wrong if you could give chance, home cook a chance in the professional kitchens. Not necessarily that they need to have. You can just intern them in your kitchens and get to learn from them. Because आप जो culinary school में पढ़ते हो, जो actual cooking जो home cooks kitchen में होता है, वो बहुत different होता है.
Absolutely.
You go by recipe, you go by grams, you go by kilos, but Indian cooking हमेशा अंदाजे से ही होता है.
Yeah.
You cannot इतनी मिर्ची डालनी because आपकी एरिया की मिर्ची अलग चरकास होते हैं, हमारे एरिया की मिर्ची में अलग वो होता है. You can't generalize Indian cooking at all. You can never do Indian cooking by recipe. कि इतनी मिर्ची, आपकी मिर्ची बड़ी, मेरी मिर्ची छोटी. So it's nothing wrong. I think people, home cooks like me or a lot of other women should be given a chance to work in professional kitchens, even for a short time, like an internship. What I've seen down south, a lot of star hotels do now. So I think that's a good way to start, good way to bring back those lost dishes into your kitchens.
Oh, wow, beautiful. I absolutely agree with you. It's like just we were talking about in the session that we cannot make the achar like our dadis and nanis used to. वो हाथों के अंदर आपके that spice, that flavor palette should be there. So that brings me to the second question. Like, since we are so much modernizing these days, we are like children are growing up so fast. They are tech savvy. They're not into family households anymore. How can we pass on this legacy to them of the actual Indian traditional cuisine, other than the dadis and nanis, which is obviously happens inside the houses? But other than that, how can we do that?
Okay. I don't know about how other moms do, but for me, at home, I prefer to cook only home style food for my kids. I feel I leave all those, however fancy food that I cook for all the social media and all that. I prefer to cook only regular roti, sabji, dal, chawal is at home for us every day. I said, आपको खाना वो खाना सप्ताह में एक दिन जब हम बाहर जाएंगे, we'll eat all those fancy food. Let us keep the weekends or the days we're going to go out or going to treat ourselves with those fancy foods. But at home, don't shy away eating your everyday food. You know, लोगों को लगता है eating parathas again with a lot of butter is not so cool. Eating your dahi chawal is not so cool. I think ये not so cool वाला culture है ना कि घर का office लाना is not so cool. Getting something from a Pret a Manger is much cooler than getting your घर का डब्बा. I think that should change. I think you should change the definition of what is cool and what is not cool.
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
nothing. Don't shy. If your mom is packing your dabba, please don't feel shy away from carrying the dabba to your office and open in front of everybody and eating it. लोगों को लगता that is not nice यार, घर का वही आलू गोभी और सब्जी. Maybe I'm sure you live abroad, you respect that more. There's no need to pack your dabba now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Pack करती थी आपके लिए, and all your friends would just come and dive into your dabba कि आज आपकी मम्मी ने क्या बनाया, आज तुम्हारे घर से क्या आया. So I think all this starts only from home. So I at least cook for my kids very simple meals at home. We mix of Marwadi and South Indian cuisine because I'm a Marwadi. So the lunch should be more of Marwadi or roti sabji, our kind of sabzis and dal. And breakfast and dinner will be a lot of South Indian dishes, which is light on our tummy. So yeah, I think the change begins at home. So आजकल जो fancy खाना सबको चाहिए, breakfast में muesli or pancakes or oats. For us, it's everyday idli, dosa, pongal, and vada, and we don't shy away from eating that at all.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, because now since I have started working in European part, I see that these guys are still following what their grannies did for them, but they have recorded in terms of books and everything. So they have a good elaborate history about the food. But yeah, some way or the other, it's the same recipe presented in a different manner with the same traditional cooking methods and techniques. So this is my final question to you. You're from the South Indian region, which already has a lot of cuisines. Personally, my favorite is Konkan and Chettinad, because I'm a spicy eater.
Yeah,
but at the same time, why does South Indian food rely on too much of natural ingredients? Not in the sense of all the ingredients are natural, but let me phrase that question. Why does South Indian cuisine revolve around fresh natural ingredients? Is there a particular reason behind it?
That's how it's supposed to be. Aren't we supposed to be cooking food with what? See, we believe in cooking food with what is readily available around us.
Mm-hmm.
We eat seasonal and local food. Our vegetables are very different from what you get in the north. We eat a lot of local vegetables here. We have a lot of drumstick, we have a lot of broad beans, we have chayote or chow chow that we call, which goes into our everyday cooking. So yes, हमारे जैसे आपके मसाले बनते हैं, we would prefer to grind fresh masala for every dish, अगर fresh masala हमेशा पीसा जाता है, रसम के लिए fresh masala होता है, making a porial, I grind my coconut freshly and I use it. So I think that's how it's supposed to be, right? Using fresh and local ingredients is supposed to be the way. अभी जो you talk about leaving less carbon footprint. I think that's something we've been doing for generations now, right?
Absolutely.
जैसे बात करो कि ये सब्जी इतनी ट्रैवल कर हमारे प्लेट पे ये lot of carbon footprint wrong with us eating what is locally and easily available. And in that particular area, like you said, Chettinad people eat a lot of spices because they were seafarers. Our seafarers have a lot of spices in their food, like cinnamon, cardamom, which came through them through the other Asian countries. And the central part of Tamil Nadu eats a lot of turmeric, banana, rice, gingerly oil, coconut, available to them. So in particular states, उनके आसपास क्या grow होता है, they prefer to eat that. First thing, it's basic, it's economics, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
See, and second thing, whenever something जो locally उनकी खेत में जो उगता है, they prefer to eat that. Everybody down south have their own farms and जो locally वो grow करते हैं, they prefer to share and eat that. They have extra in their farm, they send it across to each other and they eat. So I think it's a basic sense of economics because it's much cheaper to get what is locally available.
Yeah. This particular question was only because I'm from Delhi and we do not have something very traditional in terms of authentic Delhi cuisine. It's from यहाँ से आया है, यहाँ से आया है, यहाँ से आया है, यहाँ से आया है. Yeah, but I agree with you. Like back in my native place in Bihar, lady finger 2.5 दिन में उगता है, तो हम लोग हर तीसरे दिन lady finger खा रहे होते because it's fresh from the farm, which completely makes sense. Thank you so much, Chef, for answering my questions and concerns, and thank you so much, I.I.M.U.N, for letting me be a part of it.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you so much, Chef, again, for doing this. It's been such an absolutely wonderful conversation, and you have so many fans in the comment section that I've seen. uh,
Thank you.
But yeah, thank you. It was such a lovely conversation.
Bye.
Thank you, Chef.